We're back, everyone! This is the first video of Spirit of Justice we've recorded since we took our break.
We're forced to take our break, I should say. Now, by the time you've seen this...
We'll have released the 2 prior episodes.
By the time you've seen this, our break will have ended something like a week ago? I don't know.
Yeah.
But in any case, this is what it is in terms of us recording. Logistics, this is what you tune in for, right? Right? Anybody? No?
You don't have a face cam. They can't see the ridiculous poses you're making.
Too bad. They're excellent poses, too. We're the Bittersweet Gamers.
I'm We Squared.
Failing to live up to expectations.
Aww.
I'm the Opinionator. Anyway, cut us some slack. We haven't done this in a while. Who are you?
I just said I was We Squared, you punk. You onionator.
Right, so having started with all of that ridiculous stuff, in the last episode, everything went to hell.
Including Minister Inga.
I'm sure he did.
That may have been in bad taste. Sorry.
No, I don't think so. Inga's in bad taste. You could say that he probably got off light, unless it turns out that he was actually a stellar guy. I can't imagine how that would be the case.
I mean, he seemed to have been a decent enough father to Rafa.
She loved him anyway.
Yeah. So here we are investigating the murder scene du jour. So Emma, tell us about the incident.
Please, remind us of all the details. Emma, have you determined the cause of death?
Probably the knife.
Blood loss from a stab wound. Oh, really good, Billy. You said you've taken a break or something? I don't really know what you're talking about, but it seems like you're right on. Or was that too obvious? A single stab in the back was enough to cause the victim to bleed to death. The estimated time of death is 3 p.m., which is when Dhurke came onto the scene. Well, that doesn't look good.
No, it doesn't. Maybe they buried him in the snow and... Wait, that's a different murder case.
So, stabbed in the back approximately at the time Dhurke was there, and you came in to find Dhurke holding the bloody knife and the guy laying face down on the ground with the stab wound bleeding to death.
I find it really hard to believe that Inga would turn his back on Dhurke, or vice versa.
I agree with that completely, but boy, it looks bad. Like, it looks bad.
Like I said, I know how it looks, but,
Any suspects besides Dhurke? No. He, Maya, and the minister were the only ones here.
Or the only ones here when the guards came in.
Oh, come on. Don't accuse the police of being incompetent yet, not until you've gotten evidence to prove it.
Emma!
And Maya had been tied up until she was freed by the Queen's Royal Guard. Could someone have been hiding somewhere in here? That's what we were thinking.
Yeah, or maybe there's a secret passage or something?
Oh, yeah, that. Not likely. I was told this tomb was searched from top to bottom right after the murder.
Oh, I'm sure it was searched by the most competent police ever.
You don't suppose... Maybe not competent, maybe more like biased?
Well, I was trying to be a little generous.
Or maybe not biased, but ordered to have the right result by the Queen?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, it's even possible that maybe there was some channeling?
Yeah, I mean, what? Channeling and crying?
And during that time, the Royal Guard set up a perimeter to prevent anyone from escaping.
In other words, the crime scene was completely sealed off?
It would appear so. From the outside, yes. I've been paying attention to the way my appearances in these games usually go. Huh. No way for a third party to escape without being spotted, so... Great. It's another one of those convoluted locked room mysteries.
Our favorite.
Where all of our assumptions turn out to be wrong. I guess everybody else's assumptions all turn out to be wrong, too. At least there's that.
If the assumptions always turned out right, what is the point of the game?
I guess we'd be playing a police procedural, then. About the victim, Minister Inga, unlike every other character in this game, I'm not really involved with Kurain all that much until it turns out that my past is. More so than I thought. So I don't really know anything about Inga, even though everybody else does. Hey, what a great reason to do exposition. Oh, I should stop. He was the kingdom's Minister of Justice, correct? Yes. Inga Karkul Kurain was the second most powerful figure in Kurain. Plus, he was married to the Queen. Seems strange that someone of his status would abduct someone. Right? Apparently, he only told a few of his most loyal subordinates about his plan. That way, there was little chance of the police or even the Queen finding out.
And yet she did anyway.
What was Inga hoping to gain by getting his hands on the orb? As opposed to the Queen?
Yeah.
It just makes me wonder if she's the one who had him killed.
Unless they introduce another witness, she kind of has to be the killer, doesn't she?
That she does.
Just from process of elimination.
Well, that I don't know, but I'm working on it. I wonder if it really was for what politician Winterson said. Oh my god, I still have that habit.
I must deliver it to my benefactor at all costs. What do they want that relic for anyway? It's something to do with an old legend, surely not the one that came up in court. My patron seeks the great power said to be granted to whoever solves its secret.
You understand, this guy he wants to get elected in Kurain, which, you know, is the village based on the country of Kurain. And he's like, some old legend or something. And there's like, reclaim the glory of Kurain that he doesn't even appear to be aware of. But this guy's a putz, so there you have it. A great power that is said to be bestowed on whoever solves the orb's secret.
The face of the Holy Mother.
In Kurain, only those who can channel spirits are said to be fit to rule.
You need a face to channel the Holy Mother.
Afino, we already went through this in court. Why are you doing that?
I wanted the audience to remember.
Who are you talking about? Was that why Inga wanted such power? Did he want to be king?
I mean, wasn't he kind of already? I guess he didn't have the king's authority.
So this is the tomb of the previous queen. Yes, Queen Amara was laid to rest here. She lost her life in an arsonist's blaze. What a tragic end. I heard this tomb sits on the actual site of her residence before it was burned down.
Well, that would explain why it's here in the, royal...
Yeah.
House area.
Somebody had thought that was weird, at least. They built it on the same spot so her soul could rest in peace. So this is where the fire happened, huh?
Why do you think Minister Inga was holding this fake captive here at the place where someone died?
Uh-oh! Not just holding someone captive, but what was the big thing in the last trial? The way we were able to win was by finding out that they couldn't harm Maya. They needed Maya. So the threat of her as a hostage was a
red herring.
Yeah. It's the perfect spot if you think about it. It's close to his private quarters, which made it easy to keep an eye on his prisoner. And the courtyard is only open to the royal family, so he had little fear of prying eyes. Plus, the tomb is normally locked, and only the royal family is allowed access.
So that's why he picked this place. I don't know, Emma. I'm suspicious.
Well, don't you know that all of the police's conclusions or mine have always been right in trials? That's generally why we're the first person that comes up on the stand.
Apollo, I'm sensing some dissonance in her voice.
Okay, maybe later, but not right now. How long had Miss Faye been held captive? About 6 days.
Ugh.
It just reminds you of how fast all this goes, you know? It's only been 6 days. Like, in that 6 days has been a trial, the investigation, another murder, an investigation, and Apollo and Dhurke wandering around in the cave finding the Founder's Orb in one frickin' week. Man, sometimes I don't even get half my chores done in a frickin' week.
Well, clearly we just have to become video game protagonists.
Shut up, you guys! Really? That long? That long? That long? 6 whole days? It appears that she was severely weakened by her prolonged confinement.
Jeez.
She passed out as soon as she was freed and is now on an IV drip at the hospital.
How terrible!
Did he not feed her?
But keeping her safe meant he needed her spirit channeling powers, so why would he starve her like that?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all.
There's clearly something more going on here.
Whether it's some type of gas, which is what we thought it was the last time Maya mysteriously passed out, and this time that Dhurke did, maybe it was channeling after all. She's been asleep ever since.
Poor Miss Faye. I hope she gets better soon.
Emma, do you mind if we start looking around? Sure, I've already got the okay. Knock yourselves out. I mean, you do it anyway, right? Oh, and here.
This way we don't have to invent some sort of distraction for you so we can look around.
Just cut out the middleman and get right to it. It's the usual diagram the police drew of the tomb. I thought I'd give you a copy to help your investigation along. Thank you. Well, I'd say to look at it, but there's nothing to look at except that one statue or candle being wrong or something.
You mean that broken, missing statue right there on the right-hand side?
Yeah, that would be the one.
Where someone could easily stand and pose as a statue, especially if a guard wasn't really paying attention as they looked around for clues?
No, I mean, I wouldn't say easily, but, you know, that...
Just saying.
There might be something to that. Oh, and let me know if you need my forensic expertise.
If it means we don't have to do the fingerprinting, then by all means.
Don't you dare keep all the fun to yourselves, you hear? I'll take that as a promise, Billy. You don't need to worry about that. Besides, after the last time, I'd hardly classify this as fun. Okay, here we go. Okay, it's the fourth one, which is the one that was missing, and nothing else that we can see. Maybe the position of the chairs will be important?
Possibly, if those are chairs and not something else.
Yeah. So this is AMARA'S sarcophagus. Let's take a closer look.
At this one side.
And this sounds ridiculous, but also somebody could have been in the sarcophagus.
That's also what I was thinking. Hey, these curtains open, Apollo. Oh, the curtains open, Apollo.
Oh,
there's
so
just
they wouldn't
enough
even
room for someone to hide in.
They wouldn't need to be hidden in the sarcophagus. They could have been on the sarcophagus, which is locked. That's a little odd, isn't it?
Do they have a problem with tomb raiders?
Maybe what
on
it
the
is,
royal residence?
Maybe what it is they don't want people channeling all these queens.
But wouldn't that also mean they'd have to get rid of any sort of visual copy of them as well, like photos and paintings and things of that nature?
That's a good point.
Because otherwise, all you need is the name and the face. And what are they going to do? Open this up, look at the decayed remains, and be like, ah, yes, she looked like this.
Well, mummification? No, you have a point. You have a point. That is one big sarcophagus. They say the mummy...
Do you feel better? Do you feel better?
Of course I feel better! Of Amara, the former queen, rests inside. A mummy, huh? Oh, it's locked.
Apollo!
Hey, don't touch that! What, you mean we can't search inside it?
Why would we need to?
Not a chance! You heretic, you'll get cursed! Besides, it's not something anyone would try opening anyway. What if the real killer's hiding inside?
Still? Hey, anyone in there? Hello?
No, nobody's in here at all. Don't look.
Okay, I mean, the mummy said there wasn't anyone in there, so
Convinces me too. Don't do that! You're going to get us cursed! Do you like how we're doing this every conversation twice?
Cursed? Like, zoinks, Apollo!
The queen likely bears a grudge toward the living after such a violent, painful death.
You didn't actually hear that. You're just making that up to fit your headcanon, aren't you?
Or someone else's. So no one dares touch the sarcophagus for fear of incurring her wrath.
Ah, so that's what they're going to try and use to explain how no one could have been hiding on it. Oh no, Apollo. What am I going to do?
Don't look at me. What are you worried about again? Being cursed? In any case, the sarcophagus is temperature controlled.
What?
It's kept really cold to preserve the mummy. Just in case someone needs to channel a queen, they can certainly get the face.
But the skin and everything would be shriveled from the mummification process.
Well, what about a modern mummification process?
That's a fair point, I suppose. That's still really weird!
Well, it makes sense in Kurain.
Okay, yeah, I guess
You want to preserve
right.
the face.
Yeah?
See, it's fine in the 20th century with photographs, but this is 500-year-old kingdom.
Okay, but Amara didn't die 500 years ago. Okay, no, you're saying it's a holdover. Okay.
Yeah, it's an idea anyway. So, even if someone did decide to hide inside it, they would eventually freeze to death. That's pretty temperature controlled.
Good lord.
I see. Still, if they bundled up, I bet a person could hide in there for a little while.
Maybe with an oxygen tank in case it's like airtight or something.
Well, it better be airtight or there ain't much point in it. Okay, now that we're done with sacrilege. Or controlled sacrilege, I guess.
don't even know.
It looks like the Holy Mother was painted here to watch over Marez Sarcophagus.
So it's like this tomb is protected by the founder?
Oh, I didn't see it was your line there. Sorry about that.
Apollo! That must be so reassuring to those she left behind.
Well, after everything you took from me in the last game, I want to try and take some stuff for myself. Only one problem. They didn't paint the eyes she needs to do said watching.
Apollo, please.
Are
you serious?
I know you're right, but...
Come to think of it, she doesn't have a mouth to smile down on the tomb with either.
Guys!
Or a nose to smell the corpse.
Just because... They have a totally warped perspective on this because they solved the riddle of the Holy Mother's face. That was like their first encounter with Koreanism, finding the most sacred thing. To like anybody else familiar with it, it would be like he said, "Oh please, are you serious?"
It's actually kind of creepy. I wonder if being watched over by something like that gives the Queen nightmares.
Hey, keep that up and the founder just might come and watch over you, too.
Hey, knock it off, buddy!
There's a painting up there, but I can't see it very well from here. Maybe if we had turned... Why can you even look at it?
I don't know.
It's like a small army of terracotta monks all neatly lined up. It looks like they're facing the sarcophagus in prayer.
If you look carefully, each one has a slightly different expression.
Oh, hey, this one looks like you, Athena. I wonder if they used real people as models.
Some are frowning, some are smiling. Huh? This one does look like me! There's one that looks like he's trying his hardest not to burst out laughing.
Oh, well done! Really? Huh. I wonder why. Maybe he's petrified.
Maybe... Maybe it's like those times when things are so intense you can't help but laugh.
Well, you know about that.
I do. You know, like at funerals and stuff.
Well, if you were to show up to a funeral dressed in this loud yellow outfit laughing, that sounds like you. They went through all the trouble of depicting that? Talk about going overboard or having some interesting commitment. Look, one of the statues is broken. You don't suppose it has something to do with what Billy said before, do you?
Yeah, but it's kind of hard to see from here. We should get a little closer.
Let's check it out when we get a little closer. Speaking of which, look at the other painting. Okay, good. No, it's full of ash. My guess would be this is an incense burner.
Oh, so someone could put something in it that knocks you out.
And then it would be turned into ash.
Hey, look, Apollo. There's something in the ashes. It's a phoenix!
Yeah. That's what I was about to say.
What am I doing here?
Let's see what it is. Stop that!
Oh, we'll zoom in for this.
I'm pretty sure one of the cases in the first game was Rise from the Ashes. Is that a gemstone? Wonder what it's doing here.
How could the police have missed that?
You don't suppose that it was like a burial decoration for Queen AMARA'S body, which was then burned into ash, do you? That would be...
Oh!
That would be horrible, wouldn't it?
Like to make room in the coffin to hide in, maybe?
Something like that, yeah.
That's awful!
That's the most horrible... God, I hope not.
I've got this one covered, Apollo.
Besides, you can, like, identify ash, so...
Would you like to hear my brilliant theory?
Well, I guess it couldn't possibly be any worse than what Damon just said.
You know how people make wishes by throwing coins into a fountain, right? Well...
You know, on second thought, I'm good.
What? You sure you don't need to hear my theory? I was just about to get to the good part.
No guards were thrown in there to be wished upon. Let's just ask Emma. That'll be much quicker.
Fine.
Excuse me, Emma. What's this gemstone doing here? Oh, that.
Oh.
Well, that's good. That's good. It wasn't somebody burned.
Yeah.
It's not a gem, it's a button. Albeit a very expensive one from the victim's jacket.
How did it get there?
Must have fallen off and gotten in there somehow.
Somehow? There's no reason to look too far into it.
See? Every puzzle has an answer, Athena. Just like Emma said, there's no reason to look too far into it.
Hello. Well, I thought my idea was pretty good. Wait, what's with this soot? See here on the gemstone?
Hey, you're right. Maybe they did burn Inga.
But there was a body there!
And then someone channeled Inga.
His twin brother, Bazinga.
It's full of ash. They must burn incense in here.
So I was wondering, Apollo, did the ash come from the incense sticks that were burned in this? Or do people put their incense in after there was already ash in here to hold them up?
Huh. Don't be silly, Athena. The answer's simple. The ash is the product of prayers from the countless visitors who came here. It's not a chicken or the egg kind of thing.
Oh, that's an interesting take on it. It's so much more poetic than mine.
Guess this is where Inga collapsed when he died. Better take a closer look. Well,
I kind of feel like maybe there's some important relevance here.
so the minister was armed, huh? Mm-hmm. And that's a 4-shot pistol. He had it for self-defense. Self-defense, apparently.
That's called a pepper box.
A pepper box?
Pepper box, because it kind of looks like a pepper shaker.
Huh. But it won't be firing anything anytime soon.
He was carrying a broken gun around for show?
No, we recovered a bullet here. Which means the gun probably broke as the minister fired its last round. As the Minotaur?
As the Minotaur.
Like a Minotaur or someone minuting? It's been a long time, what do you want? Thing is, the gun's chambers are all empty. Yet that one bullet is the only bullet we could find. That is strange. Where did the other 3 go? Into Manfred von Karma?
Oh.
Okay, that was actually the deal. Manfred von Karma murdered... Well, anyway, I'm talking about the first game, so if you somehow are watching this and you're not familiar with it, spoilers! Manfred von Karma murdered Edgeworth's father, but Edgeworth's father did shoot von Karma.
Right, but the bullet was still in him.
Yeah, and so the only thing he could do was hide the bullet in his body without ever getting it taken out, because if it was taken out, it'd be evidence.
That's right, I do remember that.
It also means it's maybe unlikely they're gonna do it again.
Probably, but it could have been a callback. Maybe Dhurke ate them. Huh?
Good job, Athena! Hey, look over there! It's a mouse! We can ask the next time we see him. Just be ready for his predictably shocking answer.
I bet it's gonna be a joke.
I wonder if this ancient monster is Inga's cell phone.
Oh, it's got Angry Birds on it.
It should be. His fingerprints are all over it. Do you know if he talked with anyone recently, other than Dhurke? There were a few calls logged between him and his underlings.
I like how everyone's just referring to them as his underlings. Like, not his subordinates, but his underlings, like they're criminals.
That is a good point.
Oh, yes, there were a few calls between him and his mooks, him and his goons,
They're all members of the secret police who were directly under the minister's control.
You mean like spies?
No, like mooks and peons and grunts.
Oh.
I don't think that's quite it.
Well, considering one of them posed as a freaking monk, I think spy might be accurate.
They've already taken the body away, of course. It's kind of sad how familiar I've become with body outlines. I have a photo of the body if you're interested.
Yes, please.
Don't his feet look weird?
Well, I mean, yeah, it does kind of seem like maybe he was moved a little.
Yeah, it's like that's not how
Like
you
your
would
feet
naturally...
don't normally...
You'd have to have, like, picked up his leg in order to get it to end up that way. Oh, I see why it's called a pepper box. Also, and this may be looking too much into it, but I don't really see any signs of a struggle on him. But why would we?
Like, the whole point of this is to imply Dhurke got, like, backstabbed him.
Yeah, and there's your struggle. So.
Yeah.
He was stabbed right in the back. The poor guy was practically skewered.
Oh, man, maybe he was lifted up into the rafters where a sword had been placed in a cushion and... Wait, there's been a lot of stabbing deaths in this game.
I can't remember what the proportion to stabbing, to shooting, to bludgeoning deaths is in other titles off the top of my head.
What's he wearing on his arms? Those giant bracers.
Oh, they're bracers of AC0. That was a second edition joke.
Well, apparently he got caught flat-footed.
That's a third edition reference. Those are the Cuffs of Justice. Kind of interesting name, huh? Seems to be a tradition here for the Minister of Justice to wear these forearm cuffs.
That's pretty cool. I mean, a little weird, but whatever.
They look like they're made of a thick fabric, so I guess they aren't for protection.
Maybe they're for keeping his sleeves out of the way when he's handling documents.
Yeah, that's probably their original purpose, actually.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But over the years, the reason for wearing them was probably forgotten. So now they're just one of many traditional things that people do without knowing why. Have you noticed how this phrase is highlighted?
I have noticed how this phrase is highlighted.
That means it's going to be important.
Oh, I get it. Kind of like the way you roll up your sleeves, huh?
Or your psychology, if we're going there.
I don't roll up my psychology. I happen to know why I started, thank you very much.
So do I, but Billy doesn't.
Trying to make fun of me, you big stupid dumb head.
I'll have you know that's 2 horns. So, this is the murder weapon. Emma, did you find any prints on it? Yep, and they were super clear. They belonged to one Nahyuta Sahdmadi. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's not good. Were there any others? There was one more print from another individual.
Why don't you tell us about that?
I mean, we clearly saw Dhurke holding the knife, so...
Yeah!
But it was too smudged to identify. Almost like rubbing somebody else's fingerprints all over it was used to mask something. It's probably an old print from someone else who'd handled the knife. Yet another piece of thoroughly unhelpful info to add to our ever-growing pile. I mean, the prosecution's case seems pretty clear.
Well,
What's the divination seance going to show? I mean,
I hope Rayfa doesn't have to do it.
is it... I wonder if it's been set up to show something.
Well, haven't they kind of?
That's why I bring it up this way.
Every time, basically?
Well, at least the one time with Rust, because he set it up that way himself.
That's true. Wow, it's covered in blood.
The blood splatter this large, it must have gotten all over the killer, too.
I mean, Dhurke was pretty bloody.
Like, the things that I definitely pushing is somebody was hiding, not in the sarcophagus, but
in the little curtained area.
Yeah. And that somebody, like, that broken statue surely was used in some, like, way as, like, stealth or something.
Right.
Otherwise, it's a detail that doesn't matter. Come to think of it...
There are no unimportant details in a crime scene in Ace Attorney.
There was blood on Dhurke's clothes. Oh, God.
The circumstantial evidence points to Dhurke being the killer.
That's what I'd conclude if I were a cop, too. Why are things always so bleak for me?
I know how you feel, Apollo.
You do, Mr. Right!
Is this supposed to be Amara channeling a spirit? Looks like a genie.
It looks like the spirit of some country's sultan or something. Well, they
She
did
has white hair.
and they did. The queens of Kurain did use this power for diplomatic purposes.
Yeah.
And she seems to be conveying something to his retainers.
She's on fire.
She's on fire, huh? Is this picture where they got the design for Dhurke the villain in The Plumed Punisher?
Quite possibly.
This must be AMARA'S assassination as allegedly carried out by Dhurke. They really made him look evil.
This is the weirdest one of all. Are they going to pinch his nipples?
Is that supposed to be Dhurke facing his horrible nipple-pinching punishment in the afterlife?
I don't remember Nahyuta saying anything about the nipple pinching hell.
I guess they're gonna burn him to death, too. Isn't that a pile of ash?
No, I think that's the mural being decayed a little.
Fair enough, okay. You're right. Anyway, I guess that's the last one.
Well, until we turn around and look behind us.
Are those hippos or pigs? They're pigs. They're
Probably
demons.
pigs. I guess we're supposed to see this as a happy ending.
Yeah, except nobody came out of this story happy. Except that nipple-pinching guy.
I love my job.
I don't want to talk to you. Now, what is this? This is the... grape juice. Inga was drinking. He was probably nervous before his meeting with Dhurke, so he wanted to calm his nerves with grape juice.
So he drank grape juice. I'm not seeing the logic here, because we said it was grape juice.
Mr. Wright told me all about it when he was hospitalized a few years ago. He said grape juice has something in it to help you relax.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Taking the tongue, ramming it so far up the cheek that it bursts out the side of the head like it's from Aliens.
Really? Are you sure he was talking about regular, plain old grape juice?
I'm positive!
Because it sounds like he was talking about the fermented variety.
Why, Athena! What are you talking about? He couldn't have meant that. I mean, we're talking about a medical facility. They wouldn't have allowed something like that, which shall not be named, in.
Right, let's just leave it at that, you weirdo.
Besides, it'll raise the ESRB rating. I'll never forget the first time I really dove into one that looked complicated. It was the original PlayStation release of Tales of Destiny. You know, just to remind you guys that we're 800 years old. I mean, anyway, I looked at the back of it and it said, warning, tobacco use.
Yeah, doesn't one of the characters have a pipe?
No! There wasn't even any in a bar.
What? Then why did it have it?
But because it said that, I was looking for it the whole game and there wasn't any.
Oh, I see that dragon breathes fire. Tobacco use!
The old dragon backy. The sarcophagus is surrounded by a curtain. We've already been through this. I bet someone could have hidden behind it. Let me keep repeating that, all right?
Dracky tobacco.
True, but that's one of the many places the Royal Guard checked after storming in.
Wow, they were really thorough as far as we can tell.
Yes, well, apparently one of their members loves mystery novels.
That seems to have come up a lot, hasn't it?
He peered into every nook and cranny with an almost frightening amount of gusto.
Oh yeah? What's his name?
You know, now that I think about it, in the first chapter, and then in the chapter with In Me, and now here, we kind of get this...
Yeah!
The citizens of Kurain are hungry for culture.
But, well, Tarust was also a fan of mystery novels.
Yeah, because he watched crime dramas on TV. And then there's the Plumed Punisher thing. It's just...
Yeah!
I don't think it's not something that's, like, really important. I think it just shows an interesting aspect of Kurain that they are...
They're not quite as stagnant in their own culture as you might think. From a culture like this?
Specifically that they are hungry to be involved in things like modern entertainment or their own take on it.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Just interesting is all. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Let's say it some more.
Interesting!
Also, what is that guy's name? And when he was done, he said, very interesting. It's like one of those locked room mysteries. He said interesting too. Sounds like he's in the wrong line of work. Or the right one.
Right? I mean, if there's a police officer who is really a big fan... Oh, you were right, they were chairs. Who's a big fan of, like, solving crimes, isn't that good?
One would think.
Don't you want that?
Miss Fay was apparently tied to this chair.
If she was tied to that chair, then how could Inga possibly have any control over where she is if he was over here?
Oh?
I mean, Dhurke could have just been like, yoink, and then run out the door.
Well, he was there in good faith.
That's true.
Let's take a closer look.
Apollo, we were already over there!
I mean, that might answer the question. We should try to cover every angle possible here. Got that? Every angle?
I gotcha.
And in order to do that, we should swipe the screen to change our perspective, take a careful look around, put it in the evidence viewer, rotate it, and dust it for prints.
How do I swipe the screen on an emulator?
Poor Miss Fay. She must have been tied up to this chair.
I can just imagine how much her backside must have hurt after sitting here for so long.
You're telling me? It would have been torture for you, I bet.
What? Are you saying my butt's big?
I mean, you don't know how to sit still.
Oh, that's what you meant. If by that you mean I like to stay active, then I have to agree with you, jerk.
Oh, so that's how you swipe the screen.
I was really concerned how it was going to...
Yes. Let's look at that rope.
I bet you didn't know, but I happen to be a bit of an escape artist myself. Trucy showed me how to do a rope escape trick.
Uh-huh. And why would you bother learning something like that?
Because we're always getting into trouble when working cases with Mr. Right.
Man, one of these days I should learn to swim. Nope! And Athena would have been in much better shape throughout that whole hike. She's in good physical shape and can swim. Apollo, you got that?
How am I more physically capable than you, Apollo? So I thought it might come in handy someday, like when I inevitably get taken hostage.
Well, Athena's a gym rat. Well, something like that. She's an avid runner in any case. Well, I guess you're right about that. Miss Fay could have definitely used that knowledge.
That's right. So now you just sit right here and we'll get started.
Wait, what are you talking about? What in the world gave you the idea I wanted to learn right now?
I just wanted to tie you up.
Athena? That's kind of scary. Oh, just turn it to a different angle. Lump it to the side.
Oh yeah, I could turn it to the side, yeah.
You found, dude, you examined it from the one angle where you can't see the blood stain.
It's fine.
Look, there's a blood stain you can't see from this angle on one of the chair legs.
I know, it's almost like the guy controlling the camera then.
Really? Hey, you're right! I completely missed that! Let's move the chair so we can check under it. Instead, you're trying to rotate the camera under the floor.
Well, you know.
There's more blood under the chair leg. Huh, I wonder what it's doing there.
Because this chair that wasn't normally here.
I have some luminol here. Why don't you do some testing around it?
As long as it's not fingerprints.
Very good.
Congratulations. Yeah, I just realized how silly I was.
The blood has blood. Look. It's as if there was someone sitting in the chair who was moved after being stabbed.
Or shot.
Right.
And then hid there.
The blood stain leads all the way to the front of the sarcophagus, not the back where Inga's body was found.
Emma, is this Minister Inga's blood?
Hold on one second.
You're gonna test it right here?
Well, they have already tested it. I mean, his blood at least. Huh? Well, that's strange. I didn't get a match.
Oh, yeah?
So then, whose blood is it? Dhurke and Miss Fay weren't wounded, as far as we know.
And the blood's been wiped up by someone for some reason.
Maybe we should open up that sarcophagus.
Right?
Just to make sure. Yeah, that's strange too. For some reason, who would wipe up the blood? It's almost as if the existence of that blood would change the narrative.
No, you're just being paranoid, Damon. Don't be silly.
I'm sorry, you're right. Is there anything else? Oh, we haven't looked at the missing statue either.
This appears to be all the angles I can get on it.
Right, and we obviously got the one reaction we needed. Someone could have hid behind these curtains.
Here, I'll go give it a try. Can you see me? It's like playing hide and seek. Well, can you tell I'm hiding here?
No, I can't tell at all. That's it! That's the perfect hiding place!
I know this guy hiding back here with me agrees.
The graphics of the game! Why the limitations of the game's background textures mean that...
We did it, Apollo. We solved the case.
But did you say something about somebody being back there with you?
No.
Okay, good. Sorry to burst your bubble, but... The Royal Guard searched the tomb high and low right after they stormed in.
But couldn't find the blood stain on the chair.
Well, that's on me, but let's not talk about that part. And they said no one else was in here besides Minister Inga, Dhurke, and Miss Faye. Well, back to the drawing board, I guess.
Yeah, we'll just take what they... My brilliant deduction! Destroyed in 3 sentences!
Why did you count the number of sentences?
Want to play catch?
I see. A baby on a lotus blossom. Yeah, there's some cultural and spiritual significance to this painting that I just don't get, despite being a child here. That is a weird painting.
Well, you know, it's just, like I said, the birth of Aphrodite. It's the birth of the Holy Mother, yeah. Or the Queen.
Actually, that's probably it. Apparently, that's part of a mural depicting the life and times of Queen Amara.
Oh, I guess we started on the wrong side.
It was much more recent than that. The founding myth of the previous queen?
I don't know.
You know, like a storyboard or something. So that baby's supposed to be Amara? Yeah, that's Amara.
Yep. This one depicts Amara preaching to the faithful.
Including a very faithful dog.
Brr.
It's hard to put this into words, but I've never seen anything like it. Let's see, the next one is... that Dhurke? Why does he have horns?
My best guess is this was done after she died. It depicts the first
it's her
time...
tomb! And...
That makes way too much sense.
We could have looked at this one first and the description would have made more sense, but that is the way that it goes.
It depicts the first time Amara and Dhurke met.
They were married! Nahyuta is their child! So he's supposed to be some kind of demon who's seducing her? You know, if you think about that, we hadn't thought about Nahyuta's perspective at all, and since we've basically known that Nahyuta was the son of Queen Amara for like 5 minutes. We hadn't considered this at all, but like, what must he feel like? Being the son of the previous queen.
And the son of the demon who killed her.
That might be why he's so strongly rejected everything that has to do with his father. Well,
there may have been some cultural pressure also.
That's kind of what I mean.
Yeah, that's pretty sad. Well, he was successful since they got married after that. But phrasing it like that sounds kind of bad.
The mural continues on the opposite wall, but we just did it backwards. Oh my god, there's more! Oh, the statue!
Yeah, I was saving the best for last.
One of the statues is broken. Top half totally knocked off. Let's take a closer look.
Whoop.
Looks like fragments back there. Yeah, I see that bullet. But let's just keep looking. Unsurprisingly, it's a Magatama, I think. Did it come from the broken statue? Broken statue! Well, maybe the statue got shot up then.
Maybe. There's that bullet there. Look, Apollo, there's another one. Yeah, but the other statues only have one each.
Hey, you're right. Maybe this statue was special or something? Fourth?
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, the fourth from the left with no parallel. No. This thing's more splinter than statue now. The bullet from the victim's gun did a real number on it.
It seems like something you'd get cursed for, you know? But I'm really worried about that sort of thing.
In Minister Inga's case, I'd say getting your ticket punched is curse enough.
Yeah, but don't curses extend to the afterlife?
Well, I don't know. Let's ask a Kudayanist about this and see what they say. You need to stop taking what Nahyuta says so seriously.
I'm perfectly capable of thinking for myself.
So that would be the recovered bullet.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a bullet here. It's from the pistol the victim was carrying. My guess is he tried to shoot his attacker, but missed, and the bullet ended up here. We've already determined the rifling marks to be a match to his gun.
Rifling marks? Why don't you tell us about those, Emma-sama?
No! Well, it's a tradition, I guess. Oh, shall I explain? The science behind it is absolutely fascinating.
We're about to learn some ballistics.
No, we don't need to do this in every game. Lawyers, they think they're so smart.
Oh god, she's been hanging around Nahyuta too long.
You do realize we can hear you, Billy. There's something shiny and suspicious down here, sparkling in a way to get our attention. It's a pendant.
There's blood on it. I wonder who it belongs to.
You don't suppose it's just half of a pendant, do you? Or is the butterfly like the horizontal?
Yeah, it kind of looks like there's another wing behind it.
All we know is it's not the victim's. No one in the royal family recognized it.
Really?
Okay. Emma, did you lift any fingerprints from it? I did, but I wasn't able to get a clean one. That's too bad. If we knew this, I bet it would solve the case. But the blood turned out to be the victim's. That means it must have fallen here in the course of the murder?
Yeah.
It might be Dhurke's. Memento of his wife.
Maybe.
I should ask him about it later. Well, because that's why I was wondering if it was half of it. Because it's like, then there's
But yeah,
the
it looks
other
like one of those you can kind of put together.
But I think you're right that it's horizontal, like a side view. Man, that was a lot of stuff! I think we've covered just about everything. Maybe we should go over what we've learned so far, since this is clearly going to be really important.
For starters, we're dealing with a locked room murder.
Again.
But instead of the tomb being locked, it was being cordoned off by the royal guard. And after the murder, no one was found to be hiding inside, supposedly.
Right. In addition, we also know that Dhurke's fingerprints are all over the murder weapon.
The curtain around the sarcophagus was drenched in the victim's blood on one side. The blood must have also gotten on the killer when they stabbed the minister from behind. That's why there's like a splotch where it's not there.
Right. And conveniently, Dhurke had blood on him when the crime was first discovered, and he is even standing over the body.
That's true. He's not standing on the other side of the sarcophagus, though.
Considering if you look at the angle where Inga is, I bet Dhurke was, or we're meant to think that.
Yeah.
Because the body was found directly in front of the sarcophagus, so it could just be like an art thing.
That's true.
Or not. But also, that's some crazy blood splatter, too, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I go around impaling people with a knife so hard that it can be said to be skewering them, so I have something that I can really say out of experience. Why are you looking at me like that?
Doubt.
I said it's not like I do that! But, I mean, if you stab somebody in the back, do they does blood burst out of them like you're exploding a pimple?
I guess if you stab them hard...
That's what I'm saying, isn't that weird?
When you pull the knife out, maybe? Like maybe the pressure, I don't know. Maybe if you stab them hard enough to impale them. I kind of think that it's a little weird that as a man as big as Dhurke would only leave such a small area of not blood. Kind of feels like his body should block all of it with how big he is.
How big is he?
I suppose there isn't really any way to say, but He's always been presented as very large.
We can't know.
Dang it always comes down to the size of the characters.
Unfortunately, Dhurke doesn't remember what happened, which is probably why we should go talk to him, and I bet that's really important. This is not good.
So what we know so far is things couldn't be worse for our case, and that's still an understatement somehow.
I agree with all of that completely. It is looking pretty grim, and that is like 10 times the understatement. Oh, guys, don't worry. It's going to get worse in a minute once I tell you this next thing. If you two are done here, I'll have to ask you to leave. Go on, scoot.
Don't you scoot me!
Something wrong, Emma? Why are you trying to give us the boot? Well, it's just easier if you're not here when his ephemeral holiness arrives.
Oh god, we need to flee.
Oh! Speak of the devil! This one's gonna be a little awkward. Prosecutor Sahdmadi! Apollo, you think it's gonna be awkward for you? You have no idea how awkward it is for me! I have to listen to him say all this stuff! Detective Sky, it seems you've spoken at length with these two lawyers. I do hope you've also kept an eye on them. Yes, of course, like a hawk. They didn't touch a single thing. I'm the one that moved that chair.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Sweat, sweat, shrink, shrink away. Give a lawyer an inch and they'll take a mile.
And that's how he beat your butt.
Never forget that. There's that look of distrust again. Hey, Nahyuta. Do you really believe that Dhurke's guilty? The dead look in his eyes? And are you seriously going to prosecute this case? I mean, he's your father! You were once part of the Defiant Dragons, weren't you? That is a point that we just know nothing about, too. That's one of the reasons that we haven't really talked about Nahyuta too much. We don't really know anything about him.
Yeah, he hasn't really been too involved in many of the trials.
Well, yeah, he wasn't involved in the last one, but the point that I mean is him and his circumstances have not been important, which is kind of the pattern for these games. Hey, Nahyuta, wait! I said wait! Come on, Athena, after him!
Huh? Right behind you!
You can run faster than me, go tackle him!
Giraffe legs, don't fail me now!
And there she went.
After that monk!
I like how he could have somehow slipped past him and gone over to the detention center, though. Nahyuta, would you stop already? Why have you been avoiding me this whole game? What do you want? It's about Dhurke. Would you please hear me out? I fail to see why I should. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Yeah!
Nahyuta! Are you afraid of what I might have to say? If not, then there's no harm in listening, right? Very well. Speak. But make it quick. There is much I must do. Why does everything have to be so difficult with you, so distant?
All right, let's examine the background and present evidence at him instead of talking.
Maybe that's why everything is going to be so difficult. The putrid-minded lawyer seeks information from me? Come on, throw me a bone here. I think not. Well, aren't we stingy? I just wanted to do my thing. What about my badge? Why are you presenting that badge to me? Remember how we used to talk about what we wanted to be back when we were kids? I wanted to be a lawyer and you a prosecutor. You said you wanted to prosecute bad guys to make sure they got punished. Yes, passing judgment upon evil. That is my calling, and it is why I have taken this case. Are you saying Dhurke is evil? He who goes against what is righteous and holy. I shall reap his soul with all my power, whoever he may be, for that is my role. Then I'll just have to defend his soul with all my power, Nahyuta.
Yeah, what about all the other people you tried to reap that turned out to be innocent, huh? What about that? That hasn't changed your tune any?
So, I know you'll be prosecuting Dhurke's case, but... aren't there any other prosecutors in this country? Why is it always you?
That's a really good question. I mean, well, after that Winston Payne guy got beaten.
Her Eminence Queen Garan personally requested that I serve as prosecutor.
Really?
She did? That would make it hard to say no.
Of course she would! Ooh, I'm disliking her more and more.
Yeah, the more we see her, the worse she seems to be. It's amazing Rayfa has turned out as good as she has.
Right?
Her Eminence thinks highly of my prosecutorial skills. Still, she didn't have to ask you to handle a case against your own father! Be honest, you really don't want to do this, do you?
Even if you say no, we saw that moment. Don't think we didn't.
You speak of love and sentiment. Don't you know? What is that motto of mine? That line I utter that so makes you cringe? Perhaps, you filthy lawyer, I have just let it go and moved on.
Ah, I see you've let go of your humanity.
Yes, I do speak of sentiment. That's why I'm talking to you now! I do not deny such human emotion.
Bull!
But the law is the law. And placing personal feelings above it is beyond reprieve.
That...
I mean, it's true, but you just look at how badly he behaves.
This is not putting the law above your personal feelings. He is not, like, showing or expressing his personal feelings in any way, shape, or form. He is just a law bot. Beep boop.
Well, I think he's like that because he can't do otherwise. Like, consider, maybe the reason why, as a prosecutor, he acts the way he does, just constantly resorting to ad hominems, is because he can't argue his position from his ideals, so he just does not do that and just acts badly instead.
All right, I see what you're saying.
Because he would be faced to confront the hypocrisy and surely tragedy of his own situation were he to do otherwise.
But that doesn't excuse him for behaving in that manner.
No, absolutely. But again, finding out all about the prosecutor is kind of what, like, the end story arc in every one of these games is about.
Well, that makes sense, because, I mean, you gotta save this kind of stuff for the end. Mm-hmm. Because he's like the sort of like menacing, overbearing, like, bad, like your opponent, your
rival.
The rival.
What's interesting about it, though, is that it's happened so often this way that it's actually a little too tropey, I think, but, like, you expect it too much.
Gotcha.
It's one of those things that it always works every time you do it.
But it's a little predictable.
Not the specific circumstances,
right.
But just doing it. Like, oh, I guess we'll find out about him at the end. We weren't sure if we were going to or not with Nahyuta, but as things went on, it became clear.
Yeah.
Do you disagree? Well, no, I don't disagree, but this is actually the look on Billy's face a second ago. Civilizations only exist due to the confines, or perhaps better said, the rule of the law. Without them, love and sentiment would lack the fertile soil they need to flourish. Do you disagree? No, but...
Oh, the way he's doing this.
The law must be obeyed. The truth sits above all else, including personal feelings. Two things. Number one, he's basically acting like Javert from Les Mis.
Uh-huh.
And two...
I haven't seen Les Mis or read it or encountered it in any way.
Or two, he's also denying the truth himself. It has to be the case. He can speak like this because he's telling the truth and he believes it, but he is not acting in accordance to these principles in some way. He's lying to himself, perhaps. That's my prediction, anyway.
Yeah.
Therefore, whether or not I am the son of the accused is of no consequence. It is that simple. Or would you say otherwise? Oh, but...
I really don't like this. Come on, Apollo! Tell him how wrong he is!
He's just framing his case in all these ways that you can't really...
And it's so dirty. Just makes me upset.
I don't know if I'd call that dirty, but in any case, it makes it so you can't actually say anything against him. But don't you, wish it wasn't that way? Don't you wish you didn't have to prosecute your father? It appears I've wasted my breath on you yet again.
And the winner is Prosecutor Sahdmadi.
Here's a good old ad hominems. Still spewing empty words devoid of meaning or consequence, I see.
Screw you!
It's just dodging what Apollo said.
Screw you, buddy!
You putrid red pepper. He's just dodging and deflecting everything with no you stink. It's like every time you actually get him, the answer is no, you're a filthy red pepper, you doo-doo head. Because he can't engage with things directly.
He can't accept it.
Yeah, he can't.
Because if he talks about
maybe doesn't accept it,
or
not
doesn't.
that he can't. Because if he does, then he'll come to the realization that his own position and actions are wrong. So he can't let that happen. Ah! I know I'm right about this, but did he have to be so opposite of eloquent about his point?
Yeah, but...
Well, okay, what he said was maybe a little eloquent, but not the putrid red pepper.
Right.
It's like he's trying to cover something up with his pretty words, which is way more succinct than what those two said.
Apollo, I'd cut back on the debates with him if I were you. Just stick to questions, like the one you wanted to ask.
Nahyuta, I wanted to ask you about that hostage situation. Inga said he had someone dear to Dhurke in the palm of his hand, and he was using that person along with his hostage as leverage in obtaining the orb. That's news to me.
Then why that reaction?
Well, that's what Inga said. We were assuming it was you.
Yeah. You can kiss your chances of getting the orb goodbye.
My affair ain't my only, how shall I say, insurance. You know, Dhurke.
What?
I've got someone dear to you right in the palm of my hand, see? Now that one, well, you can imagine what kind of things I could do, right? Glad you're seeing things my way. I got the impression Dhurke had no choice but to follow Inga's demands after he heard that. So who do you suppose the special person is? I wouldn't know.
Oh!
Really?
Oh!
Really? My bracelet's reacting. Hey, Nahyuta, about what you just said, brush off, yeah!
Look out, here comes the sutra!
Ah! My bracelet is crushing my wrist!
Whoa!
What are you doing to me? Ow, that really hurts! What the heck's going on? This isn't Journey to the West! I'm wise to your tricks, you putrid pepper. You think you can ever make me confront the truth? That bracelet reacts to the anxieties of the people around you by squeezing your wrist. But now that I know how it works, I can make it tighten around your wrist anytime I wish. Consider this a warning. Ah!
What a way to dodge it!
He is so good at dodging everything. He is running away from himself so hard and so fast. I don't know how he did it, but this renders my bracelet useless. Such devilry is powerless in the face of the Holy Mother's blessings.
Looks like your special power won't work against Prosecutor Sahdmadi, Apollo. We'll have to try something else. Dissonance in his voice.
Oh, you're right. We'll just have to ask Dhurke about this. It appears you intend to go through with a trial you have no hope of winning. Grow up, Mr. Justice. We are no longer children, you and I. I'm not the one who needs to grow up, Nahyuta.
Well said, Apollo.
In case you didn't hear, I won my last case against none other than Mr. Right. And for that matter, I won my case against you!
Ha ha ha! So not only did you beat him, but Apollo beat the person who beat him! You tell him, Apollo!
Is he mad? I can never tell with him! This trial is different. Your foolishness will only earn you a death sentence for aiding and abetting a criminal. And those who die as criminals are doomed to be reborn in the next life as something lower than a bug, or a vegetable, or a giraffe.
Hey!
You would be lucky to return to this realm as a patch of mold. Mold? That's pretty harsh. If you wish to avert such a fate, abandon this folly before it is too late.
Now, is he saying this out of some degree of actual concern for Apollo? Or is he maybe a little apprehensive about facing Apollo in the courtroom?
I think the answer is yes. I mean, you know, remember when Rafa did something very similar?
That's true, that's true.
I don't care if I end up as a dollop of delicious blue cheese dressing in my next life. I'm gonna defend Dhurke in court! You fool. Know this. I intend to prosecute the accused with all of my might, no matter what you say or do. Consider yourself forewarned. Now, if you will excuse me.
Prosecutor Sahdmadi knows his father will be publicly executed if he's found guilty. Yet he won't show even an ounce of mercy.
Nahyuta, is this the real you? Have you really changed this much? Do you really plan on sending Dhurke to his death? Do you even hear me? Or are you just going to blow me off again? Don't Dhurke and I matter to you anymore?